call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the minutes, of which Tim has sent those around by email, and he's got copies on the table. People who had, I saw the first version, I didn't pick up a couple of anything, but somebody else picked up a couple of corrections or something, I guess.
Yes, the corrections are thanks to Mark's sharp eyes. And so the second one that I emailed around still had one mistake on it that I missed. But it's fixed on what you're holding in your hand.
All right, any questions, comments, et cetera, on the minutes? Got submitted and updated.
Motion to approve.
Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
100% unanimous acceptance. Treasurer, Susan.
Okay. 450, 4,100, 15,250. You figure out which is which. No changes, so.
What's how much is the larger one?
15,250, the preservation.
Yeah. All right.
Here's a test.
Next item, moving into old business, Hubbardson Hikers. Tim, you
Yeah,
wanna-
the next hike is scheduled for this coming Saturday. Steph and Bob are gonna lead it. It should have been in the Berry Gazette today. It was on the town website 2 or 3 days ago.
Came out of the email.
And the Hubbards, Joyce, the Historical Society sent it
Put it out.
Yeah, I don't know where she saw it, but she said, oh, this looks interesting.
I asked her.
Oh, okay, good. I wasn't sure what the connection was, but that's nice, and they just bring it, you never know. And they went on that really cold day that time, they showed up over at Malone, Joyce and Rick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Steph, Tim, and I had done a dry run walk on that, so it looks good. There's some interesting things
I
on
was
that.
on the wrong trail, if it was dry.
What's that?
It was dry this week.
Was it?
Yeah,
And
we're
the
gonna
wet
luck
spots,
out on
the wet,
that.
those wet spots like by that stone wall, like all
Land Priority Subcommittee, the most significant thing is that we've had connection with both Mount Grace and North County, and we have a meeting scheduled with Anna Wilkins and Sarah Wells on 5/15, so that'll be good to get that done, and get their feedback on that, and I gotta fix that. Another subcommittee there. Town master plan comments, Mark put stuff up on open space drive. How do you wanna handle getting a consensus on feedback to the to Chris? Anybody got any comments?
As far as I could tell, nobody looked at it.
I only read chapter 6. I'm supposed to read more than that.
I looked at it briefly, not as much as I should have or wanted to, but the comments that I did see, I thought were very appropriate. And just take those comments that have been generated and then feed that on to the to Chris. Anybody got any objection to that? No? All right, then that's what we'll do. So I'll take those comments. If anybody does get to look at it in the imminent future, I'll get that off to Chris he said Friday was okay. Maybe I'll give people, by the end of the weekend. But, and, we wanted a consensus from, this group. So, if there's anything that's a significant, comment, I will somehow reach out to the, committee, but I wanna get that over to Chris, soon, so I'll get that off to him on Monday. Open space, plan status, any, update on that?
Yeah, we got our clarifications back from Melissa as to what she was looking for.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's, I mean, there's some busy work. I mean, she wants a table with all the chapter lands listed individually, which I've got that information. I can generate it. It's mostly, it's basically just busy work. Copying some language that's already in there at other sections. I've got to double check on one of her comments was how the survey and the meetings were advertised to the
Yeah, I saw
public.
that. I'll drop you a note.
I think that's in the section
Yeah, it is.
back, and
I
I
think
just
it's
need
in
to,
there, but-
I just need to copy it over to the introduction or wherever she wanted it.
Yeah.
Mm.
It is, I saw that, I was gonna drop you a note on that, but I haven't been around,
So basically, I'll just crank this stuff out that she's looking for over the next month. And theoretically, we're getting our comments back from the other boards middle of May. So maybe at the end of May, we'll have it all put together and can review it, do a final review on it.
Okay, that sounds good.
Of course, we probably won't really have comments that we need from the other boards at that point. We'll be chasing them down.
so. Let me know if you need me to do anything specific other than pull that part out of there and put it in the end.
Yeah, I'll let you know, but, yeah, I mean, there was another comment down there about the, appendix form, but I think what we have is fine. We just gotta say that, yeah, we looked at the workbook when we created that last time.
Yeah. We did.
All right, anything else? Mass Trail Scan, probably nothing on that till what, another month or two?
Yes. Definitely we should know in June, but, not necessarily by the next meeting.
Citizens Academy that, I think I commented, did we have that after our last meeting?
Yeah.
Whatever, at any rate, I wanted to put a few, relative to comments coming back, Todd had a comment, I did edit the document with the feedback that I did get. Todd had a comment that it would be good to put, some pictures in there. The only picture that's in there right now is a background on the cover thing which shows the waterfall, at, Mill Pond. But if anybody's got any, pictures they think, would be a kind of a highlight picture, you can send those along to me. Otherwise, I'll steal a few pictures. I think there's some in the open space plan document that I can take and incorporate into that.
Bob,
Because
you
she
look-
wants to, there were several, probably at least 3 to 4 requests for copies of it. And so
Great.
I wanna put those in before it goes around. Yeah, that was pretty good. We went to just, all but one, and that was, That was the only one where people
Was it?
specifically asked for
You pull out a working for that.
copies, so.
You did a nice, yeah, you did a nice job with
nice
that.
touch.
Bob, question, are you looking for color or black and white photos?
Anything,
And-
anything that, somebody thinks would be a cool thing to be part of that. The potential trails loop, I did send around a note, I don't know, did everybody see the map? Yeah, so that's what that upside down. So that's what that, looked like. The specific words from Danny, which was a little bit of a surprise, but very pleasant, were that I think it can allow the trail additions under provision 1 of the WPR. However, I'd like to walk the proposed new trails, particularly.
That's a response after she reviewed that, or before?
This is what I sent to her, what's that? Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, this is what I sent.
those sound better than I would have guessed.
Yeah, very positive.
She was looking, I'm not sure what, map she was looking at, cause it's not identified on here. She did have some, concerns about elevation changes as well as, I think she describes them as, water points of interest or something like that. And there is a moderate amount of water in between Flag Road and behind the chimney. But when we walked it, we went from where we left Flag Road, if you started Flag Road and then work your way back up to the top of Mount Jeff, there's a knoll on Flag Road, probably 100 yards from where the gate is, headed towards the campground. And then we just meandered along and followed high ground and contour lines to the extent that we could. And there were only, I think there was only one spot that had any real place where we might want to consider something to address a wet area. But there were no notable wet areas on the specific path that we followed.
Yeah, the water goes underground.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was, yeah, so you can stay on the.
You could
Yeah, there
see,
was-
you could see moving water upstream and downstream, but where we crossed, there was no visible water, and it wasn't muddy or anything.
It was a pretty interesting spot actually, cause it was wet water uphill, and then, what's the stretch, was probably what, 75 feet or something like that?
Yeah, 50 feet, so.
And then water coming out, but it was all underground.
Wow.
And it wasn't a big stream whatnot, but clear flow.
Yeah.
Good for trail crossings.
Yeah.
Perfect, no water.
And then relative to elevation changes, again, we tried to follow contour lines and did some switchbacks and stuff like that. So the map that was sent isn't literally the exact path, because we're gonna fine tune it just a little bit more by a few feet relative to the best way to trim branches to get by a tree and things like that. So we didn't do any branch clearing, but the path would entail minimal cutting of any sort. There would be some branches that need to get trimmed, nothing bigger than probably, what, 2 or 3 inches that we might have to touch. And then it goes right back where as you exit the Mount Jeff area, if you're predominantly going west as the route, as opposed to the behind the chimney route down to Flag Road and back up that way, the easier way to walk it is to head west and drop down through what we used to call Jassie's Meadow, and as you exit that, there's an old logging road that we follow predominantly, and then that just drifts, south, and, Tim's gonna go out and flag it, just so it's clear to Danny where we're going, and maybe he'll make a couple, fine adjustments to that. And the, preferred route, that, Tim has got in mind is, on this map, it's the slightly longer one, the dotted lines, so.
It's all flagged now.
It's all flagged
Deb and I
now?
flagged it today.
Alright.
Good, nice day to flag it.
Yeah.
Mileage,
Thank you.
mileage wise,
A lot
how
of people
much
are
does
out.
it add?
There was a party at Malone.
Oh, that's another issue.
Saw you out there. It was-
Bob, how mileage wise, how long is the trail though?
I think it's 1.6 miles.
So
Yeah.
it's a nice little loop then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this will provide a couple nice options. So the easier option is the cutoff, and that'll be a no-brainer. She, based on her words, and she wanted to see both, so we'll squeeze over and, might just head south and then, work our way down Flag Road. It'd be good for her to see the Flag Road, that's a nice trail.
Mhm.
See Flag Road, and then where it intersects, behind the chimney, and walk, back up around that way. And at that point in time, it's just a, I don't know, 3-minute walk or something to cut across, 3 or 4-minute walk to cut across the, behind the chimney.
Bob, I had a question when we were out there today, I realized right at the junction of this proposed trail and behind the chimney, there's an old truck tire and a piece of scrap metal right next to the trail.
Okay?
If I was to get those out of there before we have the site walk, do you know what could be done with them?
Well, what we've done in the past with trash is, contact the DPW and had them pick it up. You could just leave it up at Mount Jeff.
Are you saying you need somebody with a tractor to help or
No,
something?
no, I
It's-
think I can do it. It'll roll.
Scrap metal will roll?
No.
Drag.
Yeah.
Well, you might need help on that though, it just, no?
No.
Okay.
It's, it's just down that first little hill foundation. I just, doesn't look like great stewardship of the land.
I was gonna say, a
perhaps.
little bit unsightly, shall we say.
Yeah.
We, along the trail, when Steph and Bob and I were scouting out, we noticed a couple of oil cans or something from a long time ago, and today, I guess I didn't walk exactly in the same spot, trying to avoid the steeper slopes and whatnot. And we came across a little dump of some kind, with a bunch of
Oh, wow.
galvanized pails and
Mm.
junk like that.
Yes, I remember the big cleanup at Malone. Do you
Yeah,
have
there
that
were a lot of
picture?
those dump sites.
You should show that to, just send it around to everyone. Unbelievable.
How much stuff.
Yeah.
Mount Malone.
Yeah, I mean, that was major.
And that didn't include all the metal shavings.
Yeah.
No, those are still,
That was a pile.
those are still fertilizing the,
Yeah.
forest floor.
Maintaining the pH. For blueberries.
Spring trail maintenance needs, is a new topic.
Beavers.
So,
Beaver Dam. That's definitely,
what's that?
the Beaver Dam.
Yeah.
And then one of our, friends, she was riding today on Mill Pond Trail, and she said the small bridge on Mill Pond Trail has a hole in it.
Ooh.
She said
Yeah, I
the
was
mats
gonna-
are across it still, but you can see there's a hole underneath, so the wood may have rotted out or something.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if anybody's been on Mill Pond recently. I haven't been there recently.
I haven't known that in a long time.
Is there a way to patch it?
Well, they were
or-
on-
I mean, is it at a point of being dangerous?
I didn't see it,
Yeah.
so she didn't go across it, she decided that she was on a horse, so she said, I'm not gonna do
Yeah,
that.
not gonna
But I don't
have a
know
broken
if she's
leg.
over exaggerating, I mean, I don't know, so we can.
Those are fairly narrow
check.
too, those bridges
Yeah,
though.
that's small, that's a small bridge.
Yeah.
That's when you come down and go across and there's a lot of mud on the other side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's only one bridge on that trail,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Mhm.
So the horse doesn't have much option, and if it's covered with a mat, I mean, it's good that she saw it or noted it.
Yeah, some people might have maybe just walked through the water and gone across, I don't know, but she didn't, she just turned back and came on.
Yeah, we'll get down and look at
Do we ever do things like put up signage or close, something like that if we think it's
Well, we
unsafe?
tried-
Well, what we did on Canesto, when that was in bad shape, we put yellow caution tape up
Okay.
across.
But then they got moved everywhere.
And by the way,
Remember
I didn't-
someone took that down and then
Yeah.
they put it all.
And
They
that-
decided they knew better? and put it-
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Got repurposed.
the small culvert that on Canesto Brook that you put in a couple of years ago is plugged.
Oh, the stone
Beavers?
one?
Oh, what's it,
Like the 12-inch
The one that-
HDPE, the corrugated culvert that you put in.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not flowing. I tried to clear the inlet, but it's further in.
oh, inside the culvert?
How are we gonna ream that out?
Yeah, remember we used, the backhoe and
Is that one that
tree.
has fence around
That
the
was for the big
upstream
one.
end?
This is
Yeah.
a little one. This one's a small one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
true.
but
Yeah.
it's a 12-inch culvert though, or something, so.
That was, I didn't measure it, but it's something like that. I mean, mostly I was gonna have to stand in knee-deep water to, I mean, you could reach into it with
Oh, you could.
a tool and try and drag stuff out, I think. But you
Well,
have to
when-
be standing in the water
Yeah,
to do that.
once
Well,
it
when-
gets
how long?
flowing,
What's
it-
the length?
it'll-
The
the
length
flow
of it's probably
itself will
12
clean
feet.
it.
Oh, so you could go at it from both directions with
Pushing and pulling.
with a rake?
Yeah.
I've got a
Well, when we-
three-tine,
Huh?
Yeah,
At a
I
three-time-
One of those is what I
Yeah.
have in mind.
Yeah.
Do we need to schedule a work day?
And Susan loves pulling apart those.
No, they have us beat, they do. I have such respect
It's
for
not
those
exactly
creatures.
trail maintenance, but, the, Gates Foundation.
Yeah, and I need to
That needs to
get
get
up
done
there
before all the
very soon.
growth gets in there.
That's a good one.
And the gate up there, where the post is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah, that was.
What about it?
the-
Both gate posts for the gate going into the field just north of the foundation,
Yeah.
have rotted off.
Oh, okay, that's the one that you had done some work
Yeah.
on, and so both posts are gone now?
Yeah, the latch post
Yeah.
is now fallen over.
So,
I kinda propped
were
up
gonna
the
steal one of
hinge
your
post.
Telephone poles, but to
Yeah.
take those out and put, well,
Well, we gotta
I
figure
need
out how
to
to
get
get
up to
them out
that
of there.
Gates Foundation, or I'm gonna miss it, this year too, so when I'm up there with that, I'll bring up a couple pieces of telephone pole. What do we need, like, 8 feet?
8 feet's fine.
Yeah, that'd be, well,
Cut 1.5.
6 or 8 feet.
Well, it's about 5 feet. What's the
Yeah,
height of,
they'll-
what's the height off the ground?
I think they're under 5 feet. It wouldn't hurt if they were 5 feet.
Yeah,
so.
just make them.
8 feet?
8 feet. Cut one pole in half. The hard part's gonna be pulling what's left in the ground, or we just drill new holes. That's probably easier.
Yeah. Gate at,
Oh, you gonna drill holes?
Drill new holes instead of, no,
Don't have to dig.
no.
gate, well,
Good. That's a couple hours work.
He's got a drill, remember when we were doing the
yeah,
Mark's?
the drill should work
Size?
there.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause it's
Maybe.
field, yeah, hopefully.
Depends on what we
Yeah.
hit underground. Famous last words.
Mike, have you thought about how you want to approach all the stuff that's down on the new mountain bike trail at Hidden Meadow?
there's that much, huh?
Are you gonna be looking for help over there?
Probably, the land trust schedules workdays. Typically, it's the first Saturday of the month. And we just had a stewardship meeting Monday this week, and the next one or two are already scheduled. We're really focusing on the invasive plant control up there. Normally, we rely on the mountain bikers. That's one of the things, part of the partnership was that, okay, we
Did a trail for
involve-
you, now you don't.
Right,
Yeah,
you know, we
they usually
involve
pretty
you
good.
in it, and you get to decide some of the features. We kind of gave them the guideline as where you can go, because they're not familiar with the native species that are there, or none of them had read the management plan, and I had. So whenever we were working out there and laying out some of the details, I was with them, but you know, gave them a lot of, you know, do you go this side of the tree or that side of the tree? You know, this rock area, you know, so we gave them a lot of latitude and involvement in that. And part of the, when I say payback, was to, you know, be very involved in the maintenance of the trail.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the trails that they use a lot, they're very proactive about getting
Right.
out there and clearing
Yeah, they are.
in the state forest and such.
And I've
I don't
seen
know
some-
how many people are riding over there yet, but it got slammed, and that, if you haven't
Okay.
been there, that last nor'easter in March, there's a lot of stuff down.
Okay.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, well, we'll, yes, there was a lot down just on the main trail up. You know, I typically, what I'll do is I'll drop it, if a tree is up, I drop it to the ground and then leave it until, you know, we can come along and get it off the trail. But as long as it's not up in the air and it can't fall down and it's low enough where people can climb over it, walk over it, it's not a priority. It's the woods. And welcome to having fun in the woods. You know, we make it safer, and then we do the cleanup later. So that's a good point. We do have 3 stewards for that, those 2 preserves, but it still is 250 acres and miles of trails. So it's a big chunk of effort, but good point. I'll get out there and we'll try and see if we can't get a work day. We'll advertise it just like the Land Trust does, and we've had great success with locals, Hubbardston people showing up, and we've had good success with outsiders from, you know, the area come in and help too. So, thank you.
There's also some light saw work over at, behind Parsons Road.
In the wildlife management area?
Beyond it, we put in some trails last year on town, there's a town-owned parcel right after the Fish and Game land.
How far down? Or is it, from the gate, you can either go, I'll call it left, down
You
to
go left.
Taylor's Camp?
Yeah, about
It's
half.
called
about-
Taylor's Camp.
About halfway to Taylor's Camp is where these trails are.
And there's a Hubbardston parcel there? And what do we call that? Is that state forest or is it something else?
No, it's town-owned.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Town parcel off of Parsons Road.
And somebody got ambitious and totally rebuilt the bridge.
Really?
Over to the Hobbit House.
Really?
So it's a,
No
it's
kidding.
a,
We can walk across
it's a
it?
nice walk right over across the
Is
house.
somebody
now.
living there?
Yeah, somebody moved into
I
the
mean,
Hobbit
it is-
House. Wow.
It is picking up more graffiti now that it's easier to access.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow.
So what'd you say was down, there's a tree down there?
There's some small stuff. There's like I don't know, a 6-8 inch hemlock down across the middle trail. You know, there's the trails that come from either end, and then the one right in the middle. It's primarily the one in the middle has a couple things down on it.
Not every town has a Hobbit house.
Yeah, it's kinda cool.
It is, it's
The little
interesting.
stone, the
Yeah.
little one, the stone one, the roundish one. That's the one you're talking about, right? Calling the Hobbit House?
Well,
No,
the
no.
camp with the, all the appliances.
Oh, right,
mortared-
in the-
mortared into the stone
mortared in,
wall
yeah,
and,
yeah.
the doors, the surplus doors, creating the roof.
Yeah. I like to call, well, there's that little stone structure though that's
Yeah.
super cool,
Charming, isn't it?
yeah.
It's charming.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a picture on here somewhere of it.
Tim, do you have any idea what we're talking about?
Yeah,
Oh, you've seen it?
oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Todd, have you been down there?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, you were down there with us.
Yeah, and we have, yeah, we've been seeing more ATV traffic than we've had in a while.
In all the trails,
At
or?
Malone and also over on Copper's Mine area. Not much we can do about it,
Jeff?
but.
I saw some four-wheeler tracks on the trail down to.
I went down Gates Hill, there's a little bit on Gates Hill, as usual.
They probably don't try to go through the beaver pond, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't see any ATV traffic over there. I'm saying there's a little bit of, downwood at the top of Gates, and last time I saw also on the little cut-through trail, there was some stuff down there.
Wow, Gates Hill is wide enough for them to get down the steep hill?
No,
No, he said there's a tree down.
not ATV.
Oh,
Saying
oh.
there's other maintenance work
Oh,
up at the
oh.
top.
Yeah, someone said that, one of the kids told us there was a tree down, at the beaver pond, a couple trees down, she mentioned something about a big pine tree. Sounded like
There-
after
there
Claudia
is-
told me that.
Yeah, there is a tree across there, yeah.
But that's been, the one that's been there
that's
for a
right.
long
Yeah, I
time.
forgot
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
been there forever, yeah.
This
No.
one's
No, this is coming toward the beaver pond from Mill Pond. Just before it floods,
Oh,
there's a new tree down there,
Oh.
but it doesn't matter, you're not going through there anyway at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she said she did ride through there, though,
I've noticed the ATV tracks went right through the middle of the butterfly garden.
Ah. And there are 9 echinacea coming up. Squish. They're pretty hardy though, once they can survive over there, so, but thanks for the info.
Yeah, as long as they don't make it a habit, it'll be all right.
Well, what can you do? I mean, and you mentioned, are we gonna get to that at some point, Malone and the fire?
Fire, yeah, what was
And the
that?
ATV?
That's up to the chair.
Oh, that's right, I'm
Fire?
sorry.
Well, that's on my list.
Oh, okay.
The, all right, let me see if I can recap that, what we just talked about. Specific things if we need to add to this. So we got Mill Pond, the small bridge needs to be investigated. It was reported there's a hole in it. And I guess, Steph and I will take care of looking at that one. Beaver Pond, I'll schedule, several of these are gonna link to the same thing, because the stone culvert, if we can just get a small piece of wood and just put it up through there, is that the best way to deal with that? Put something up through that like we did before, and that cleared it out easily? That's,
Yeah, it's not beaver activity.
it's just debris.
I think it's just got like wads of leaves or something that got
Yeah.
Mhm.
washed,
A branch got
washed
in
in
there
during
and-
the.
Probably just a
Yeah.
couple, 3 tiny breaks.
I mean, I don't think it'll be bad, I just had to go back with shorts when I was ready to get soaked.
Yeah.
Is it flowing over it, or is there some
Yeah.
freeboard above the culvert upstream? So can you see when I say, you know, daylight?
The inlet is underwater.
The inlet is that's the question, thank you. That's the answer to the question. Thank you. That could be a little more challenging,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's definitely wetter.
cause I could float, you know, if
Yeah.
there was, you know, if you can at least daylight, if there's daylight at the inlet end of the pipe, then you know there should be daylight all the way through, and you can pull something through, maybe float something through, drag something through, poke something, and then, you know, use the force of the water to help you dislodge it, or jam it in tighter.
Yeah.
There's two ways that works.
Yeah.
That's true.
But it's not clogged up at the entrance, is that what you were saying?
No, it is on the
No.
entrance.
It is,
It's
yeah.
No,
not,
there's water at the
not
entrance.
outside the entrance.
Not
uh,
outside.
It's not outside,
within
it's
the pipe,
inside.
within the
That's-
pipe,
that
but
was what
but
I
it might
meant.
not be very far.
Well, when we're down there, when I schedule something for the Beaver Pond, there'll be probably several people down there when we work on that. So maybe we can take a look at that at the same time. So I'll set a date for the Beaver Pond.
Yeah, because of course that whole stretch of trail between the Beaver Pond and the culvert
Yeah.
we were just talking about is now eroding out worse than ever, because it's
Yeah.
constantly flowing water.
Mm.
Yep.
And that was
Um,
eroded as it was.
Mm.
The stones were just like coming.
Gates Foundation, I'll set a date and I'll set that soon, because if you don't do it soon, then the growth takes over, you can't even see what you're working on, and then it's 10 times the problem. If you can see what you're attacking, it's 1,000% easier to work on that.
If you're gonna have the tractor up for that, that'd be
Yeah.
fun to do the posts too.
Yep, and so we'll do the posts at the same time. That'll be a small effort relative to the thing.
Yeah, gates would be, it's still gonna be a big effort.
And any of the hidden metal stuff, you're gonna take care of that, Mike?
I'll take the lead. I
Okay.
note that is private property, we have a lot of private property that's open, I mean, chapter land, and they have trails and we don't really get involved in them, but I think we have a special relationship, with land trusts that, you know, we wanna put a priority on those, cause they are very openly advertised as open to the public.
Yep.
And we benefited greatly, and we contributed, as a town to
Yep.
the purchase of that. So, you know, it shows that we're still interested, we just didn't open our wallet, we're in it for the long term too.
Parsons Lane, somebody wanna take that one?
Yeah, I'll do that sometime. Sometime before the next meeting.
Did I miss anything?
No, that's everything. So
Okay.
far.
Hey,
So-
do you wanna have like tag team? I mean, some of these things are, you know, we go out hiking alone all the time, but when it involves work and maybe tools, even if they're just hand tools, I mean, do you want someone to go Natty Brook, Parsons Road? You want somebody with you? I talk a lot, so please consider that in advance before you.
Yeah, it's really only 15 minutes of work.
Oh, okay, all right.
But, so, on this whole subject, when I was up helping with the burn that one day, I was pleasantly surprised to see, as Mike said, a number of people, both from in town and out of town there, and it reminded me that a long time ago, we talked about setting up a Friends of Open Space, Hubbardson Open Space, but we didn't really do much about that, but I'm thinking that, you know, that would be a good way to get people involved, cause, you know, just going on Tim's walks, there's people from town that are interested in this stuff, and we just need to do a better job maybe of communicating when these, you know, when there's spring work days, just like the land trusts do. I mean, I get an email every week from EQLT about, you know,
Something.
about something, and NCLT as well, so they're setting up these work things, maybe we should be just doing a better job of communicating that. And I can, you know, do that, if we have dates set up, I can, advertise. and
Well, a lot of the things that East Quabbin does are like cleanup days, and so you're going down a trail and you got a lot of small brush, kinda like what happened over at Rice Reese and things like that. Things like the beaver pond, well, we haven't even got that figured out exactly, so I'll be down there with a tractor and
Yeah, I'm not
see-
necessarily saying for this particular thing, but just to
General, if we have-
do a better job of communicating when you
Yeah,
do have
yeah.
some. I mean, the Gates Hill Foundation thing would be a perfect opportunity for people to come and help, you know. to
Yeah,
offer.
'cause there might be some small stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, what I'm thinking though is a lot of these things are just big hunks of concrete that are probably gonna weigh somewhere between 200 and 1,000 pounds or something, so.
yeah, no, I'm talking about, I mean, there's a lot of brush around it.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It certainly could use some maintenance as it relates to that.
Is the brush honeysuckle, do you know?
Probably some, I don't
Some
know
of
that.
it
It's mostly,
Okay.
mostly bittersweet.
Yeah.
A bit, okay.
There's a poison ivy over there also. I know from experience.
I treated some of it,
Is
there's
there a
probably
lot
still
of-
some there.
Is the concrete, there, got rebar, or is it unreinforced?
From what is observable, I see no steel in it, so Graves will take it at a couple dollars a yard, cause they can recycle it, so they don't charge much. If it's got rebar in it, then it's
Right.
like $15 a yard or
Mhm.
$20 a yard to have it dumped there. But from what I had seen, I didn't see any steel in the concrete that's there.
Okay, are there enough pieces that are small enough that could be moved with a bar? Cause I do a lot of handwork and, you know, I'll go and look. Is it anything that's a concrete foundation? Is that what's gotta go?
It looks like it was, the vast majority of it, you got the main stone foundation,
Right.
and it looked like it was
We wanna
something
leave
coming
that.
off of it, yeah.
Yeah, we're not disassembling.
We're not gonna
Yeah.
touch that.
Yeah.
The,
Looking at
That's-
it,
that's
it's to
what
the
we were-
far right.
that's
from-
what we were clearing,
From the
yes.
field access
Yep.
to the left of the field access and back from the big,
Yeah, and it-
beech tree.
It looked like it was like a porch that was added on,
Okay.
something like that, and not much done for footings and things like that, cause it's all tilted and lean and
Okay.
broken, so, but it definitely inhibits any kind of solution towards mowing it.
Right.
But where there would be some work relative to, Friends, after that comes out, probably need some loam and hand raking and filling and stuff like that, so then you could do that. As well as, the growth, clean up any brush that's grown in
Yeah.
on the other side of the foundation.
I have a lot of composted manure, as you know.
Yeah.
And it grows grass real well.
Yeah. All right, so I think we covered that well enough. All set with that? Anybody else got any reports on downed trees or anything else like that? And then, Todd sent around a note that, there's another campfire or whatever you wanna call it, up at Dottie Rock. So, anybody got any thoughts on?
What do you mean by a campfire, like, they build like,
Just a small
Fire ring?
with
definitely fire?
surrounded by rocks, similar to the ones we've seen in the past.
So I can't have my equinox fire out there? Or the solstice fires anymore?
The,
No
uh,
marshmallows.
I mean,
either.
unless you happen to.
It kinda falls into the same thing as four-wheelers or something, it's a matter of
Yeah.
how you police it, right?
Well,
I mean, we could put up a sign, maybe it's somebody that would be conscientious, and signs in four-wheelers, that doesn't seem to work too well.
No.
But it helps with enforcement if
Yeah.
you get to that.
Yeah, I mean, there is mention of things you can't do in that land at the entrance, but not everyone's gonna read them. I think A sign would be helpful, might be helpful.
Where, would the sign go out by where they're putting it up, or
Yeah.
right at the,
Where
Parking
they're,
lot.
well, somewhere visible where the fire has been set.
Yeah, cause they may not be reading what's up front or something
Yeah.
like that, and so if it had a specific thing, a little bigger letters, and anybody get any thoughts on putting a sign up out there? Yay, nay?
Well, it can't
Well,
hurt.
well, if you're thinking about, like, we're gonna be putting in a new trail out there, right? This was at Malone. So maybe somehow in that whole plan, there could be maybe some signage going up throughout the trail.
Hmm.
And maybe somewhere on wherever that deck's gonna be, is that where the fire was? So
Yeah,
we're
roughly.
putting a deck there anyways,
Mhm.
but maybe somewhere where people are sitting that there could be.
At least they put rocks around it.
Yeah, maybe the sign should say, leave no trace, take only pictures, leave only footprints or something.
I mean, most people should know.
Yeah,
I think the most appropriate place for a sign is at the entrance where
well, there is
they're
one.
gonna have to pass through, well, but I mean, prominent,
Is it buried in the text, or is it something that's
It's been so long
sort
since
of
I read
jumps
it.
out at me?
Yeah, I mean, 'cause
If-
there's a spot at Mill Pond that holds
Yeah,
fire.
that's a-
There
Yeah,
used to
right.
be,
And that's been, I mean, it's used, I don't
That's
know if
state
I'd say
forest,
regularly,
right?
but, what's that?
Yeah.
That's state forest, it's
Mm.
not our jurisdiction.
Oh, but can you have fires there? In state forest, I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably with a permit.
yeah.
Oh,
I just read, it's state forest and not wildlife management area, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yes.
just within the last hour or two read the game rules, and it says, no fires in the wildlife management area without a permit, no camping, it's pretty clear, it was really clear to me, so. But if that's not within the purview of the game law lands and it's state forest, I don't know, I didn't see anything about that.
let's see, I haven't heard anything real concrete here so far. So, I mean, just sort of be specific here, do we wanna put a sign up out at the site? That, in my opinion, that's probably the most effective, cause somebody's out there and they're
Yeah.
gonna start a fire.
I would think so.
There's a sign there.
Put a sign and move the rocks, and, they'll put them back and steal the sign, but we can do it, I mean, it'd be easy enough. You've got those old
Oh,
sign things.
those flimsy things?
Yeah,
That's so easy to
Put-
take out.
well, they're gonna take, anything we can put in there, they're gonna take out.
Yeah.
We're talking about something
So
temporary
let's
for
make
now.
it easy for them. Oh, so, just to let them know
No,
that we
make it
know,
easy
that
for
we know.
us.
Yeah.
And them, but
I kinda
Try
suspect
it.
maybe it's kids going up there and, drinking beer and just enjoying being out at night.
probably some of Todd's
If it was,
students.
you'd expect to find beer cans,
Oh, you didn't notice anything else, no
It's pretty
litter?
clean,
No.
They're throwing them over the.
That could be.
Right.
I'm serious.
I'm sure
That's
you're right.
scary, yeah.
If that's what it is, if that's who it is or whatever, then, they're gonna put the rocks back and take the sign or throw it over the side.
Does anybody know, now that several people actually live on that road, that police perhaps could just check now and then? Do they ever go down that way?
Yeah, 'cause anybody that's doing that probably drives down and parks in the parking lot, right?
Yeah,
So that's a dirt road.
yeah.
You know, send a town vehicle down a dirt road.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Have they fixed that yet? 'Cause it was pretty.
It was
Yeah, no,
pretty
it's,
rutted.
Malone Road's a lot better than Root Road or Jefferson Road.
Route Road is great. We got our own speed bumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love it.
Lots of them.
And they still go flying down.
They probably could mount a trail camera at the parking area and another one out at Rock.
check
And then
the
what?
First off,
timestamps.
you might be seeing
You
things
can
on
get
the
a-
trail camera you don't want to.
Get a picture of the
Ah.
fire, and you can find out who was parked in the parking lot at that time.
Inspector
But I
Clouseau.
don't know what you do next
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot.
enforcement is the tough part.
I guess if we did a sign, where's the sign gonna go? Is it gonna go on a tree? Is it gonna be, like you said, just poked in the ground? And what's the sign gonna say?
No fires.
No fires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thinking this all through, because with the land trust, I've got some overview sites and I've had to go through this similar situation. Number one, you don't want to spoil the picture taking thing, so the sign needs to be back.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we've spoiled it. The other thing is, you know, is it a big enough problem that we wanna do something now or just monitor? And then when we do the new trail, you know, see if we don't take care of it then and wrap it into a bigger project. And maybe get a substantial sign, and, you know, keep track of what we wanna say and where we wanna place it.
Yeah,
The do
because-
nothing alternative immediately is always an option, and then kick the can down the road. I mean, plan for it, but is it a big enough of an issue? You know, what's the threat and the risk?
Forest fire?
Sure, the obvious one. Thank you, Todd.
Pretty big.
Professor Todd, yeah, but I mean, is it really?
Not
I
this,
mean,
not this spring though.
you know, it's not, it's gonna stop at the river and the bog and the swamp down the cliff, you know, it's kinda contained.
Well, if we're lucky enough to be able to build that trail, there's gonna be a overlook out there,
Right,
right? And
Right where the fire is pretty much,
I don't know,
right?
did you have any trail signs
Of the
in
fire
that?
anymore.
Yeah,
Thinking about
except
any
on the
trails,
deck.
additional trail signs, with that plan?
No, we didn't propose anything explicitly.
that's Mount
Trust me, we
Wachusett
can't do
out
something.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, that, I mean, Stephanie's idea was probably the best one, is what you're saying is it a big enough problem now to deal with, what are we gonna do about it, even if we were to catch somebody?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's probably been 2-3 years since there was last a fire ring out there.
Yeah,
I
probably
just,
yeah.
I just pulled it apart,
Yeah.
scattered it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe they get the message that way.
Was it something actually staying there or something?
I did meet the guy who wanted to camp there.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just overnight, but still, that was the intent, right? That's
Well,
what he,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe that is the thing to do for now, is to dismantle the fire ring, scatter the coals, try to obscure any suggestions that this is a place to have a campfire.
Right.
Yeah.
There's also, putting on my rose-colored glasses here, there's the factory window principle of maintenance. As long as none of the windows in the factory are broken, nobody throws rocks through them. As soon as one window gets broken, people start throwing rocks through
Right.
all the windows. So if we get the grant and we can put in the new trail and the deck, it's gonna really look like people care about this place,
Mhm.
and maybe it
No
won't-
rock throwing.
won't
Right.
won't cross people's minds to
Well, hopefully more people will be out there,
Right.
so.
That too,
More
yeah.
eyes.
Yeah, more eyes and
Yeah.
monitoring, nobody's gonna light a fire if there's people coming and going all the time.
I mean, if it's responsible people in the first place, I think scattering the rocks would probably, oh, I didn't realize somebody must have moved these because we're not supposed to have a fire.
Yeah.
If it's jerks, they're not gonna care.
Well, they must be somewhat responsible, because they
They
did
made a
use
fire-
put
well,
a-
that's- yeah.
a ring of stones, and the charcoal's all contained within that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And no litter.
No
No.
litter.
Yeah, so.
So,
Not up there anyway.
yeah, right. I'm gonna be peering over the edge.
All right, well, I think we've thrown this one
Well,
around.
I'll take that one then.
Okay.
I'll give,
Yeah, just dismantle, so that what I hear out of all this, just dismantle it as the initial thing, and as
And
long as it's,
monitor.
we get nothing, no significant reaction to that, and hopefully it just fades away. Right.
so and not through the rocks.
It's up to you. Might be fun.
You might hit some of the
I don't wanna
glass-
hit a porcupine.
You might hit some of the glass bottles that down below.
Let's see, I just added a rhetorical thing on the new business. Steph and I went to a Barry Historical Society things over at Barry Falls, Village. Well, it was about Barry Falls Village at, Barry Falls Dam. And the person that did the, presentation, they had underneath the,
Pavilion?
cover there.
Really, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mike
Mike was
was
there.
Oh, was this Sunday?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we were wondering who that group was.
Oh, you were there too?
Yeah, we were over checking out the Eagles.
There were eagles flying overhead, we missed all that?
No, there's an eagle's nest in Flood Swamp.
Oh, there is.
They're there every year.
The person that did the presentation was named Lucy Allen. She was phenomenal, really, really good. Cause she had probably a 2 or 3 page thing of paper with maybe the stuff she wanted to talk about. But she hardly looked at it, and she knew all from the first place there were people there, the different families that were living there, and who went and moved into this house, and then somebody else moved into that house, et cetera, et cetera. And she was just doing this all right off the top of her head. She was pretty amazing. And then at the end of it, she led a short walk. So there are a number of, probably a couple sawmills in that area. There was a grist mill in that area. And so she took us on a walk to the grist mill. There's a trail going down there. And the grist mill remains pretty amazing, really amazing.
A lot of stonework.
Yeah.
There's not much left to show where the dam was. The river is really flowing through that particular area, and it makes, just downstream, it makes about a 90-degree bend, which is a pretty cool spot. And so the grist mill is probably 20 feet off the river, and then just above that was a dam which powered both a sawmill on the far side as well as the grist mill, and they control that, so there's a sluiceway that was there. Not too much of that was terribly visible, but that came into where there was a water wheel, and then it exited, the water from the water wheel exited through a stone culvert, which is, I don't know, what, 50 feet, 100 feet long, something like that. You actually walk over a stone culvert, which you don't even know that it's there, but once you're in the remnants of the foundation that's left there is in really good shape. A lot of great stonework, and the size of that foundation must have been, I don't know, something like 20 by 24, 20 by 30. There you go. Go, Susan. At any rate, the remnants of the foundation are in excellent condition. And then you can actually look into, you get down into the floor of the foundation, the basement floor of the building. You can look into where the stone culvert goes, and you can look in there 5 or 6 feet or something. And you can see where it went downstream, and the culvert worked its way around and then fed back obviously into the stream. But it's just a point of interest. I don't know if who's been over to see any of that kind of stuff up there.
So I'll give you a call tomorrow sometime.
The significant part about the village was in the time frame when it was there. There were I don't know, maybe 100 people in that particular area, and so it was quite a ways to get to any school. So they there was a schoolhouse that was put up there. So you know, the main way to get around was a horse or a horse and buggy, and
This is all at Berry Falls or down in Coldbrook Village you're talking?
All at Berry
Berry
Falls.
Falls.
It was a
I
village
didn't,
there,
I
yeah.
didn't know there was that much
Yeah,
there.
and so she pointed out up on the hill, so we're standing up at the shelter, and she looks a little bit northwest. And she said up on that hill was such and such a farms were up there, and then the different things that were located in that area, so that it was its own little enterprise, because it was a little bit isolated in quite a ways for somebody to go, to the extent they put up their own grist mill, so they didn't come into Barry for grain, they made their own grain right there and stuff, so.
Bob, did she explain, or could you figure out if it was an overshot wheel or an undershot wheel?
It was not an overshot wheel for the grist mill.
Okay,
Okay,
I think she mentioned that specifically.
okay.
thank you. Cause when I was at the site looking at it, I was scratching my head,
Yeah, how it worked,
yeah.
yeah.
That-
I'm
that
still.
would explain it.
I'm still scratching my head, you know,
So, so that's what I got. Anybody, got any other, business or things that I left out here?
Yeah, we're down to 60 maps, right? So, I got from Jassy, I got the artwork for those original maps. And so, at least temporarily, I was gonna look into seeing what it would cost to have, you know, a couple hundred of them or whatever, and see if we get the grant, in which case, everything's gonna change anyway. So, I don't wanna, you know, print a bunch of them that don't have all the extra trails.
Okay.
So, they're just a one color, one side, just so we have something that,
And,
cause people are using them.
I checked Malone, but I didn't check
What format
out
is
Jeff.
it?
I'm sorry.
What format did you get? for the original?
It's a map format, I can't remember which one off the top of my head.
I mean, is it electronic or is it paper?
Yeah,
or-
oh no, it's digital,
Okay.
yeah. And it doesn't have the ads, she didn't send me the
Yeah,
ads.
no, I'm thinking of the colors of the trails. I think some of those have changed.
It's just, the maps are just one color anyway, I mean, it
Well,
just.
right, but it's in the text, it says what
Oh,
color
yeah.
the glazing is.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I wonder if we'd be able to change that.
probably, I mean, it is digital. I don't remember, it's a mapping software of some kind that it's in, and I just don't remember off the top of my head.
Well, are we right about the 60 though? Because at some point I thought I dispersed some out to.
I've got about that much that I can.
Well, that's about 60.
That's
So
back
maybe
here.
we don't need to worry about it at this point then?
Well, if you got that, that's about what the size, the
Yeah.
60 we have is, so we probably have 120, well,
So not to worry.
I'll go ahead and get find out what it would cost to do it, it's not gonna be real expensive, but,
Oh,
if we can at least hold, if we got enough to last us until we find out whether we got the grant or not, you know?
Yeah.
okay, so when I run out, I'll know where to go. So,
As of a week ago or so, there were still some in each
each.
location.
Yeah, but it was getting pretty.
Oh, yeah, there's only half a
Yeah.
dozen or something.
So,
Well, and
What,
good weather's coming, so hopefully there'll be.
I don't know whether you wanna record this in the minutes, but there were 33 people that enjoyed the eclipse from Mount Jeff.
oh, really?
Oh, wow.
And
Did
Including
you, were
you?
you there?
Yep, oh yeah.
Did you have your glasses?
Yep, I got a picture of it.
Oh,
Through,
really?
through my,
Through the
through the
glasses?
glasses, through the,
Huh.
That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, we had a good view of it at our house.
Yeah, that is neat. Oh, local people, you know, or, do you know?
Yeah, it wasn't anybody I knew. People, they parked on the grass, some people sat in the back of their pickup truck or put out lawn chairs.
Cool, very
That's great.
wow.
And I don't know if everybody had the same experience, but, the birds were quiet, and then the sun started to come out from behind the moon, and the birds started singing like it was morning.
Cool.
cool.
I'll add on to that, wasn't in Hubbardston, I went to Moscow, Vermont. And, it was a traffic jam on the way up, but as totality, approached, most people were like, oh, we better turn off now and get a spot. And having gone through this before, I just kept going and the traffic got less and less, and I got to get, almost 3 minutes of totality, so adding to the 7 minutes I've had previously, I'm up to 10 minutes of totality now. And, I
10
did.
minutes of darkness, huh?
Yeah, and, the birds, because I was going along, driving, and I didn't stop until actually totality hit and then got my 3 minutes. I noticed deer came out, and they were, you know, cause I'm driving
Oh.
along the highway, you can look down into the pasture and farmland
Yeah.
and whatnot. It was pretty cool.
Huh. Yeah.
And then it took me, I got in at 4:30 in the morning, coming back. It was one parking lot from up there near, let's call it Burlington. Moscow's near Stowe, Vermont, all the way down, what is it, 85 or 89, 91. The whole way back was, pretty intense parking lot.
Yeah, I read an article that of people that had electric vehicles and quite an experience coming back from that.
Well,
That-
They learned.
Or not coming back, as the case
Yeah.
may be.
They're not coming back, exactly.
I was at the south end of Lake Champlain, and I was staying the hell away from 89 and 91.
Yeah.
I did secondary roads across Vermont.
That was my, that was where I was gonna go. Were you on the shoreline where you could see the shadow crossing the water?
I was hoping to, I didn't see it.
Okay. That's the way to see it. Either from a really high point, but across the water, it's pretty cool.
I think it was kind of a light overcast that day. It wasn't, you know, the shadows weren't sharp. I figured maybe that's why I didn't see it.
Yeah, that could be.
I'm not sure.
The shadows were quite sharp. I've seen the limbs of trees, you know, on the road. They were sharp, and I'm going, hey, come on, you know. But it was good. Yeah, I had good viewing.
Okay, next meeting, May 30th?
Could be, I don't know.
May 30th is the last Thursday. Is that okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike?
Yeah, just real quick, anybody here live in Hubbardston before 88?
1888?
No? Okay, so that I've been the one that's been around here the longest. So a quick day in history, this isn't a day, but in 1988, we had 2 wildlife stamps painted by a Hubbardston person. So that's kinda cool, Mr. Everett. And he did watercolors, and apparently 2 of his paintings were used as US postage.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so that was in 1988.
Can we
All
pass
right,
that around?
yeah. He said that. How about 1976? They put out flood control maps, and it's kind of cool because they're not real cluttered, and so you can, you know, you can look at them and see stuff. Pretty interesting. And does anyone know where the west branch of the Ware River is? I think most people know the east branch. It's on the east side of.
Great, so it comes out of Britain, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, how-
Brigham Pond, and it goes north of Brigham Pond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but how far north is it labeled? Where does it become
No.
the west
I
branch?
was looking at that.
And then there's the Burn Shirt and Canesto.
Yep.
I always thought that was the west branch, cause it's furthest west. But apparently, the Brigham, and Mason Brook and Joslin, those all go in, and those are the west branch, even though there's a huge amount of water further west. according to these flood maps. It doesn't mean these are correctly labeled, it just means that's how they are. So out of Brigham, so it labels it as the west branch of the Rare, right up to Route 68. If you keep going up any of the tributaries from there, it's Mason Brook here, and it's,
Jocelyn,
Joslyn comes in from,
it meets Mason Brook.
meets
Right.
Mason Brook, exactly, and whatever comes down out of Marcan Pond, so,
Marine, right? M-A-R-E-A-N?
yes.
That's a typo, right?
Yeah,
Didn't
I
we
think-
discover that at some point?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure anyway.
Cause it has to do with the Mashun.
There was a big that was a big family name in the
Yes,
1700s.
Yes.
M-A-R-E-A-N.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's just a typo.
So anyhow, I learned a little bit there, and, all right, let's go back further in history. It's great digging through this stuff. In a Massachusetts Wildlife from 1963, and I still remember this. We're not gonna date ourselves any more than that, though, folks. It says, it did the Great Ponds, and so we have Asnacomet, Comet Pond, and Moosehorn. But then it lists other ponds owned by public agencies and whatnot, and Hubbardston makes it in there with Mare Meadow and with Bickford. And the interesting comment in Bickford, and I'm gonna pull the string on this, is that it says, located in Hubbardston and Princeton, open to fishing. 1963. So when I was a kid, I remember the old Bickford Pond Dam, and then they expanded the reservoir, or made it into a reservoir back in the 60s. And I remember that work going on.
So you're really old.
Well, this next one that
He's
I'm
got a
gonna
really
bring
good
up,
memory.
I'm not going to, well, you know, as a kid, you know, nothing was going on in Hubbardston, so there wasn't a lot to have to remember. So when you went out and you saw these things going on, they filled up your brain with this great history. And apparently I haven't forgotten much of it.
I wonder if kids in Hubbardston today would think there's a lot going on in Hubbardston.
Yeah, they'd probably think not.
Yeah.
Same way, nothing has changed. And this one I won't,
Yeah, you can still fish, Mare Meadow and.
Mare Meadow you
Bickford
can.
And Bickford, but
And
just
Bickford.
from the shore, you can't go out.
You
of it.
can fish Bickford, huh?
From the shore.
And where are you getting that from? I want to fish Bickford.
I've seen people fishing.
Oh, it's no doubt that you'll see people doing a lot of things that are not supposed to be done. But what I'm trying to do is find out, and this is a little bit of a family thing because my dad brought this issue up, so I remember his take on it. And he believes that because it was fishable before, and before Fitchburg bought it as part of their water system, that one of the agreements was that the town residents would, Princeton and, it doesn't go into Westminster, Princeton, Hubbardston, Bickford, the new reservoir is about 50% in each of those towns, that we would still be able to fish there. And the rule on Mare Meadow, which is mentioned in here and mentioned on their signs, are the residents of the surrounding towns, so Westminster, Hubbardston, and Princeton. Whatever the surrounding towns are for Mare Meadow, they can fish them, but not others, and they don't enforce it,
Yeah.
but.
But I mean, I can't imagine why they would allow fishing on Mare Meadow, but not on Bickford.
Because it's much more easily monitored. And the rules are you can only fish the shoreline where the road goes. You're not supposed to be on the far shores. So, and, you know, I'm certainly not an expert on it, but I've at least looked into it. And last but not least, anyone hear of the Pissa River in Hubbardston? It's actually the Piss River. Turns out the east branch of the Ware River was called the Piss River. And it's the section that goes from, you know, let's just generally say Route 62 back to Mare Meadow and Bickford reservoirs. That was called the Piss River. And I don't have the paperwork with me for that, but it's interesting. That the name's
named it that?
changed. I don't know where it came from, but somebody mentioned it to somebody and they said something about, oh, you're talking about the Piss River, and this was back a while ago. And these people are all now dead now. But I found it in writing where it calls it the Piss River.
PISS.
PISS. So I'm gonna have a piss of a trail up at Hidden Meadow in Henry's Grove.
I suspect
was a
that name
question for
originated
you.
from a couple of 6-year-old boys.
Clambering around out there,
Yeah.
yeah.
Could have been you.
So
I'm
my,
not that old.
I
Right.
wasn't here.
Hidden Meadow,
Yes.
there's a fairly fresh orange flagged trail going from the backside of Meadow back
Down to-
out into Moose Country.
Into Mr. Moose's swamp.
Yeah, is
That
that
was
you or?
that was the gang, my gang. That's so they would know where to get fire water. So we filled up. We've done 3 burns out there, and the source of water is take a 5-gallon bucket, walk down to Mr. Moose's swamp. My name, but everybody knows that's working the fires. They know what that is, and so people that aren't that familiar. That's not an official trail, and those flags will come down as soon as we're done burning,
Sounds good.
which, is pretty soon. Does anyone have any familiarity with ag burn permits? Oh, okay. It's a possibility that I was
Well,
told.
With the ag permit, you can burn anytime.
That's,
I mean, you have to call up.
right, you have to get the
You have
ag
to get the permit.
Is it
You
still
have-
like?
There's no
10?
calendar.
Right, well, that's why we may wanna continue burning up there, but our time is running out under the regular
We
burn
have-
permit.
Okay, yeah.
We have an ag permit.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, Professor.
No?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.